SmackDown starts off with Miz and Joe Hendry. They've been doing this little thing with Joe Hendry and Miz for a bit. They end up having a match. They end up having a street fight. They end up calling it like some type of Christmas themed street fight. This was a pre-tape episode of SmackDown, so I know why they went with this route. I just didn't like it at all. Look, this is one of those things where if you like it, I understand why you like it. For me personally, this is one of those things where it's a bit too goofy and too ridiculous for my liking, to the point where I just can't really enjoy things like this. And plus, Joe Hendry has been someone that I haven't been the biggest fan of recently, because I just feel like WWE overuses him way too much and kind of uses his gimmick way too much. The whole he appears out of nowhere, it gets very repetitive after a certain point, especially with the way they do it at times. Nonetheless, Joe Hendry, of course, won. This basically became a 4-on-1 handicap match at eventually, because you end up getting Otis, for whatever reason, is in the match. He's a Raw guy, but whatever. You got Akira Tozawa is there as well. Still don't make any sense. And then you got an Easter Bunny who's in the match, which ends up being R-Truth, which you can say is kind of funny, but I just didn't care, so I didn't really get a reaction out of it, because I was just like, whatever. It is what it is. It's whatever what it is. It was just a fun little goofy segment just for the holidays. So it is what it is. I didn't really enjoy it, but I understand if you do enjoy it. I get the appeal of it. But for me personally, I was just out of it, if I'm being honest. I just felt like it was a bit much. I just feel like it was a bit much, too goofy for my liking, but I do understand the appeal. But nonetheless, Joe Hendry picks up the victory. Now afterwards, though, we end up getting Lash Legend versus Charlotte Flair. They end up having a match due to the match they had like a week or two ago with Lash versus Alexa. This match ended up being the opposite result, with Charlotte Flair picking up the victory, do like some type of roll-up pin. This match was kind of hard to watch. It was moments I liked, but it was also moments I didn't like. A lot of people are blaming Lash Legend for this match. I just think they just didn't have good chemistry, because I also don't think Charlotte was all that great in this match either. I just feel like Charlotte's just getting a pass in this match due to her reputation. I just think both women weren't that great, but to be fair, I just don't think they both just mesh that well in the ring. Maybe if they have another match, it'll be a lot better. I'm interested to see who's going to be the women's tag champs at January 5th. But I know next week on SmackDown they're going to have an 8-woman tag match between Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte, Alexa, Lash, and Nia, and I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to be in it as well. So they're going to have 8-woman tag match. See who wins. That could really go either way, because the Kabuki Warriors aren't built that strong, but you probably want them to have a victory before their match, before their championship match. That would be the best case scenario, because you don't want the Kabuki Warriors to look weak before their championship match. But to be fair, the Kabuki Warriors have been looking weak their entire championship reign. So I can honestly see either of those 4 women winning. And next week is the first official episode of SmackDown. That's 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be a tough watch, because the fact that they're already pulling in women from Raw for that 3 hours is just proving that SmackDown cannot go 3 hours. They just can't. The fact that they're already pulling women from the Raw Women's Tag Division to make the 3 hours work is a bit ridiculous. But you could say it makes sense storyline-wise, but we all know the real reason why they're doing this match. They're really just doing this match because they need to fill in time for those 3 hours, and they need people from Raw to fill in the gaps. It's really that simple. But we'll see how that match eventually unfolds. Now, we did end up getting a special appearance from someone from NXT, someone we haven't seen in a bit in NXT, which is Trick Williams. It was a very short segment, but he did end up getting confronted by Cody Rhodes, and he ended up basically telling Nick Aldis that Monday Night Raw threw him a bag, and that Nick Aldis needs to just make a better offer. Then he ends up confronting Cody, ends up saying that eventually he will soon be taking his title. I love this. Look, Trick Williams needs to be on the main roster. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they're waiting until the Rumble or waiting after WrestleMania. I don't care. But Trick Williams fits right into the main roster. We need some new faces in the main event scene or the mid-card scene, especially on SmackDown, because Raw don't need any more faces. Because if you're not going to transfer people, you need new faces on SmackDown to really build out that division. So if Trick Williams is going to be on SmackDown, I'm here for it. They also showed a little Opa Fimby little vignette package, so I'm excited for whenever he gets called up as well. Now, I don't think he's going to get called up until after Stand and Deliver, because I'm assuming he's going to hold the NXT Championship until then. But nonetheless, I like seeing Trick Williams on SmackDown. He just fits so naturally. He can easily be put in multiple storylines. You can easily put him against, you could easily put him against Melo for the U.S. title. You could put him against Ilya chasing after Melo. You could easily put him, you could put him in the main event scene, and I wouldn't really care because the main event scene needs some new faces. So if you put Trick Williams in the main event scene, I wouldn't mind it. He wouldn't even need to win immediately. Just him being there elevates him. Like, he could be in so many different spots. It really doesn't really matter. So I'm interested to see how this all goes. Plus, you can easily put him in a tag division. If you want to put Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams in the tag division, that actually works because Ilya and Trick had like a kind of like a mentor student type relationship in NXT because Trick had to overcome Ilya, and Ilya was, prepping Trick up. So I actually like this. Now I hope it's soon. Now I may be overthinking it, to be honest, but I'm just excited just to see something new on SmackDown. Cause we've been saying the same thing over and over and over again. So it's just so refreshing to see something new on SmackDown, even though it's for just like a 1 minute segment. But nonetheless, I'm interested to see where Trick Williams goes. Now we end up getting the best thing on the show. Not even close. This is easily the best thing on the show. The US championship match between Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes. This match was absolute banger. This match was amazing. This is probably my favorite match of 2025, if I'm being honest. Honestly, this is easily my favorite match of 2025. I know there's a lot of great matches in 2025, but this is definitely top 3, bro. The fact that Carmelo Hayes finally is your United States champion. I'm so shocked that they actually did it. The fact that they have him win the U.S. title on a pre-tape episode of SmackDown is very shocking. Now, the crowd was dead for a good portion of this match, but they did pick it up towards like the later half, which I did like because the crowd was dead for majority of this show. But to be fair, it was a pre-taped episode, so I understand why they was dead. But nonetheless, though, this was a banger match, man. The fact that Carmelo Hayes actually won was very shocking. Now we can finally put those rumors to rest that Triple H doesn't like black men. Now his booking of black men isn't the greatest, but at least this would, stop those speculations and stuff for a while due to Carmelo Hayes winning here. But Carmelo Hayes won, and I'm excited to see what they do with him for the U.S. Title. I don't want him to do open challenges, though. I'm cool if he does it every now and then, but I don't want him to do it every week like they was doing with Dragunov and Ilya, because it would just be a bit repetitive, if I'm being honest. I feel like open challenges should be a rarity, not something we see with all the time. It should be something that's a rarity, in my opinion, and it should really work with certain gimmicks. Ilya, it makes sense due to his babyface gimmick. Same with Sam. Melo, on the other hand, I don't think he should be a quote-unquote fighting champion. Like, he could defend it every week or so, but it shouldn't just be open challenge, if I'm being honest. But it looks like his first feud is going to be with Johnny Gargano, which I don't mind because the SmackDown roster is thin. Plus, it's not the worst thing in the world. Plus, you could easily have Tommaso fit in there as well, and Ilya could still be in the background lurking. So I actually don't mind this at all. So very interested to see how Melo U.S. title run plays out. Hopefully, he holds it until Mania, because I thought that they weren't going to pull the trigger on this until like Royal Rumble season or until towards Mania. But the fact that they pulled it this early, I can't complain, because I've been wanting Melo to win a championship for the longest time. Finally got what he should have got a long time ago. He finally got what he got with the other main roster call-ups that with Braun Breaker, Tiffany, and Locker. So this is great. Can't wait to see how this unfolds. Now we end up getting Julia, Chelsea Green. This was a tag team match between Julia, Kiana, and Chelsea Green and Alba. I'm not going to speak about this match. This is just the build towards the Women's United States Championship picture that they obviously don't care about. Julia, of course, gets the pinfall over Chelsea Green, so I'm assuming this is going to lead to a title match. I don't care. I don't care because WWE clearly don't care. I don't really see the end goal here because Julia's going to win, and then what? She's still not going to get any reaction. She's not going to get any pop. Look, I don't blame Julia entirely. Now, I do think the internet fans are blaming Triple H for this, which, yes, it is Triple H's fault to a degree, but can we also admit that Julia is just not as good as maybe you guys claim her out to be? Sometimes we overrate wrestlers. Now, I don't think it's fully her fault, because I do think that if you book her similar to how you book Ilya Dragunov, she could get over. Now, also, too, things take time. Melo wasn't getting over immediately on the main roster. It took him some time. Io Sky was another one. She wasn't getting any reaction when she first got on the main roster. It took her a while to start getting reactions. She didn't start getting reactions, really, until she starts feuding with Bayley, if I'm being honest. And so, nonetheless, things just take time. We'll see how it unfolds. Then we get the main event. Drew McIntyre, he's forced to apologize and pay a fine. He apologized to the referee, but then he starts antagonizing the referee, starts saying that he's sorry that he attacked the referee, but he also ends up saying that the referee could never make it into the big leagues, could never be a wrestler, so that's why he's a ref, and that he apologized to his wife and kids that they have such a pathetic father. Then you end up getting Cody. He comes out, he starts antagonizing Cody to attack him because if Cody attacks him, then he loses the WWE Championship and he becomes the WWE Champion. Tries to antagonize him, ends up mentioning the attack on the bus, end up saying that his family, he wishes that his family was there to watch him get attacked, and he ends up admitting to the stipulation of the match, which is a 3 stages of hell match, and ends up saying that when he sends Cody to hell, say hi to his dad, which I thought was a great line. Look, I'm like, okay, it's so weird how they made me excited for this match, but it's hard for me to still buy into Drew McIntyre because they spent the entire year making Drew a fucking loser, and now all of a sudden they want me to believe he's going to win. If Drew McIntyre lose this match, bro, this is just, I don't like using the word buried a lot because I think wrestling fans use that word too much. But bro, if Drew McIntyre lose that match, the fact that he picked the stipulation and you still lose, yeah, he's buried, bro. I'm sorry. That is a burial if he loses this match. We'll see how this plays out. I want Drew to win. I'm not getting my hopes up, though. I'm still going to assume Cody is winning, but we'll see how this eventually unfolds. Overall, SmackDown, it was a okay episode outside of 2 things, really. There's not really much to go off here, but yeah, it was just an okay show. But you guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.